Hello guys, welcome back to the quantity surveying workshop and to another video. In today's video, we're going to be treating how to measure for the formwork and the oversight concrete to this particular drawing for our frame structure. So first things first, how do we measure for our formwork? Now, I have explained this before that formwork based on the standard method of measurement can be measured in two ways, either in linear meters or in what? Square meters. So it is measured in linear meters if the width of the formwork is less than what? 300 mm. And it is measured in meters square if the width of the formwork is greater than what? 300 mm. I don't know if that makes sense. So now, we measure it in linear meters because now look at it in this situation. Now, I want to ask you a question. When you are constructing the formwork for your oversight concrete, what kind of formwork or what kind of material do they use? Do they use marine board or what? Plank. They use what? Plank. Now, the reason why we measure the formwork for oversight concrete in linear meters is because of procurement. Now, when you want to go and buy your material, you want to go and get your plank for this construction of the oversight concrete, you will notice that when you are trying to buy your plank, they buy the plank per what? Length. I don't know if that makes sense. The plank is bought per what? Length. So when you are doing your estimating, because you measured your formwork in linear meters, they say if you go to the place they buy the plank and they tell you that the standard length of the plywood or of the plank rather is what? 3.6 meters. All you just need to do now is to get the total length that you've what? Calculated for your formwork and then divide it by the what? Standard length of the plank. And that will give you the number of planks that you will need for what? This particular what? Work. If it was what? Marine board. Now marine board is different because the marine board is either you buy it in board or you buy it in square meters. So that's the two different scenario on its own, and you use the marine board in places where the area is large, like the surface of whatever you want to what? Place concrete on, like the surface of your what? Suspended floor. I don't know if that makes sense. So that is why the standard method of measurement, that's the SMM, states that you can measure your formwork either in linear meters or in what? Square meters. So in another case where you can measure your formwork in linear meters is in your staircase when you are dealing with your risers. So most times the length of your risers is like 150 to 175 mm. It is not up to 300, it's not greater than 300 mm. So you use the length of the length of the step as what? The length of the formwork that you are going to be using for the risers. So these are simple information that you have to take conversance with. If not, you are going to be measuring out of standard. So now we deviated too much. Now let's go back into our what? Calculation. So now in order to calculate for our formwork, what do we do? Now the formwork is going to be nailed at the external side of the what? Block. So for example, if this is our block, this is section of our block work, right? The formwork is going to be laid like this. So this shaded portion here is our what? Formwork. And it's going to go round the what? Building. So now the same thing applies here. The formwork is going to be laid at the external side of the what? Block work. I don't know if that makes sense. The external side of the what? Block work. So it means that the block work, the formwork is going to be laid like this externally. And back. So that's how the formwork is going to be laid. So what we're going to be doing now is that we're going to be getting the individual length of this what? Irregular shape. So So we're going to be finding the out to add dimension for this length. We'll measure the out to add dimension for this length, multiply it by 2 because here and here are the same. We're going to get the out to add dimension for this length, out to add dimension for this length, and out to add dimension for what? This side. That will give us the total length or the total perimeter of formwork for this what? Building. I don't know if that makes sense. So with that, we'll now what? Begin our calculations. So we're not going to do any rigorous calculation here because we've already done most of the calculations when we're dealing with our damp-proof membrane. So now, if you look at this, we got the total length for this side here as what? 13,411, as you can see here. So we've already calculated for it when we calculated for our damp-proof membrane. So all we're going to be doing now is that we're going to be bringing this length side back, because this 13,411 is the out to add dimension from this point here down towards this point. So we're going to be bringing it back. So the first side will be this long side here, which is 13.41, and then we'll now close. So the next part will be this side and this side. So for the width side, we've already calculated it as 13,315. So we're going to be bringing it back, meaning that from this side, this edge down to this edge is 13,315. So we'll just record it. 13.32, and then we'll close, and then we'll multiply it by 2. We're multiplying it by 2 because here and here will be the same. I don't know if that makes sense. What we have here is the same thing as what we have here, right? So now we're not going to be looking for this side and this side. We're going to be looking for this side to this side. We're going to be looking for this side to this side, and this side to this side. So the next side we're going to be looking for now will be from this edge down towards this edge. But if you look at this, we've been giving our center to center dimension from call out A down to call out C. As you can see, from call out A down towards call out C. So what we're going to be doing now is that we're going to be minusing half the thickness of this block work to get to this edge, and then we're going to be adding half the thickness of this block work to get to this edge. I don't know if that makes sense. So 4008 will minus half of 230, and we'll add half of 230 to this side. So 4008 minus half of 230, and that's going to become 3,893. So it means that from this edge down towards this edge is 3,893. So we're going to be adding this half of 230, which is 115. We're going to be having 4,008. So it means that from this edge down to this edge is 4,008. So we're going to be booking 4.01, and then we'll close. Similarly, we're going to be doing the same thing for this side. So we're going to be using the same approach, right? Since from call out E to F is 4,033, from call out E to F is 4,033, we're going to be minusing half the thickness of this block work to get to the edge of the block work, and then we're going to be adding half the thickness of this block work to get to this other edge. So 4,033 minus half of 230, which is 115, is equal to 3,918. So it means that from this edge down towards call out F is 3,918. So I'm going to be adding half the thickness of this block work, which is 115. And I'm going to be having 4,033, which is 4.1. 0.03, and then we'll now what? Close. So we have gotten for this side and we have gotten for what? This side. So the last thing we're going to be getting now is for what? This long side here. And we've already what? Measured for that when we're what? Doing our what? DPM. And as you can see, we've calculated it as what? 1955. So it means that this side here is 1955 and this side here is 1955. So we'll be multiplying it by what? 2. So we'll now measure 1.96 multiplied by what? 2, and then we'll now what? Close. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be bringing this thing out to our squaring column, and then we'll add everything together to get the total length of our what? Formwork. So the first one is what? 13.41. We'll bring it out. 13.41. The second one is what? 13.32 multiplied by 2, and that is equal to what? 26.64. The next one is what? 4.01. The next one is what? 4.03. The next one is 1.96 multiplied by what? 2, and that is equal to what? 3.92. So you add everything together. 13.41 plus 26.64 plus 4.01 plus 4.03 plus 3.92, and that is equal to what? 52.01. So 52.01 is the total length of the formwork we're going to be needing to what? Cast our oversight concrete. So we're now going to what? Book some formwork to the sides of block work to lay oversight concrete, and then we'll close. Doing this, we've measured for our what? Formwork. So the next item and the last item for measurement of the substructural work for a frame structure would be the what? Oversight concrete. And at this point, we're not going to be doing any serious calculation because we've already calculated for the area of our oversight concrete, because the same area that we laid our DPM and our BRC mesh is the same area that we're going to be what? Laying our what? Concrete for the oversight concrete. So what you just go and do now is to get the area that you've already calculated for in your DPM, and you bring it back. And as you can see, we calculated what? 184.02 as the total area of this what? Irregular shape here. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be bringing this back. So our oversized concrete, we're now going to what? Measure. So for our area 1, you can see we had 13.41 by what? 13.32. So let me cancel this. We had 13. So for our area 1, we had 13.41 by what? 13.32. But remember, oversized concrete is measured in what? Meter cube. So one parameter is missing here, which is what? Our thickness. And the thickness of our oversized concrete is what? 150 mm. So we're going to be adding one more parameter to this thing. So for our area 1, we'll bring it back. 13.41 by what? 13.32 by what? 0.15, and then we'll now what? Close. So the next will be what? Area 2. 1.96 by what? 3.44 by what? 0.15, and then we'll now what? Close. So 13.41 times 13.32 times 0.15 is equal to what? 26.79. And then the last one is 1.96 times 3.44 times 0.15 is equal to what? 1.01. So we'll add these two parameters together to get the total volume of our oversight concrete. So 26.79 plus 1.01 is equal to 27.8. So 27.8 is the total volume of the oversight concrete for this drawing. So we're going to describe in situ concrete work. Then you put the concrete mix 1:2:4, cement, sand, and aggregates. Let's say 20 mm size in oversight concrete. And then we'll close. So doing this, we've measured for our oversight concrete. And with this, we've come to the end of the series for measurement of our substructural works for a framed structure. So in the next video, we're going to be kickstarting our measurement for the superstructural works for our framed structure. So without any further ado, we've come to the end of today's video, guys. If you derive adequate knowledge from this video, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel because it helps our channel grow. Before I leave, I want to say we are almost hitting 2K subs, and I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. It's not been easy. This is our second year as a channel, and I hope to God keeping us alive to keep giving good content like this. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.